1, go.
Hey everyone! I am Mr. Cleveland, Paul Mr. Cleveland Warren, having less fun than any human being can ever have. And it's episode 2 of What the? Movie sign! Movie sign! Movie sign! Let's get to theater! Yeah! Well, as you all know, last week I gave you a little teaser of what it was, and it
was what you're reviewing today.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And it's The Mask. The Mask is, excuse me, The Mask is not a burp. One of my favorite Jim Carrey movies of all time. My second favorite. First one's Bruce Almighty. Now, the movie starts with a couple scuba divers checking around a treasure chest, and they see this green wooden mask in it. And like some pipe hits them. It's kind of like a big-lipped alligator moment. I don't know, because you don't
steal from the other guy.
Okay, fine.
It's just a random moment, though?
Yeah, random moment.
Random is a word you use a lot.
Fine. But, so, here we have Stanley Ipkiss, played by Jim Carrey, who's just this normal, average guy living in Edge City, working at Edge City Bank. He gives tickets to one of his friends. Another random moment.
Right, they were for a basketball game or something.
A concert.
Oh, a concert.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, Bruce Springsteen, wasn't it?
Well,
you can say that. That's you steal big lipped alligator moment from somebody else. You can say Bruce Springsteen's name.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Because I'll mention that later. But so the concert was sold out, and her friend, because she was in town, and it's like he sacrifices his tickets, and his bank friend Charlie says, "Man, you are weak." And then Tina comes in, played by Cameron Diaz. She came out during a rainstorm. Wet lady, slippery when wet. And it's like Stanley's like has a hot for something, and he's like trying to say everything about a bank, what she can do with the money, and he puts his pen in the pencil sharpener. But Charlie even told, beforehand, Charlie invites Stanley to the Coco Bongo, which is a nightclub in Edge City, which is one of the biggest places around. And Tina was actually spying at the bank, so Dorian can make this bank robbery at the Edge City Bank.
Right.
So it was all ploy. So after Stanley Ipkiss's day off of work, after having a hard day's night or something, but he tries to get his Honda back from the auto repair place, but they're like, "Oh yeah, we had to put some more stuff in."
Yeah, these guys were doing work on it. His car needed work, so he had a loaner for a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, but all I needed was an oil change. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, at least you told us now. So that evening he goes with the loaner, and the thing is, he sees Charlie, he sees Tina, and he does not get in the club because even though he wants to, but he jumps over the.
Yeah, he's just not cool. He's a loser. But
yeah.
He tried to sneak in.
He jumps over jump over the rope, but the bouncers throw him on the curb, and so he gets his suit ruined, and water splashes on him. I think it was his loaner car, and so his what are those people called that do the key thing?
The valet.
Yeah, and the valet gives him his loaner back, and he feels a little embarrassed around Tina, so he's driving home, and then the car breaks while he's
the car breaks down. It's stuck right there on the middle of the bridge, right? Yeah.
And so by the river, he thought he saw a guy drowning, or was like, help me.
Right.
But he found out it was just trash.
Yeah, he runs all the way down there. It's a bunch of like kelp or
and he sees a mask, and it's like, and the cops wonder, the cops wanted to know what's going on because they saw a broken down car, and so he probably came home from the cops all wet, and then
I was just looking for my mask.
funny if William Shatner tried out for the
Yeah, I sounded more like Shatner than Jim Carrey. Sorry.
But so he comes home late. His landlady, Karen Peenman, I know that's not her first name, but she does. But she acts like a Karen, so sorry for all you people named Karen. But
Yeah, Karens weren't around yet, but if they had been 25 years ago, that woman would have been a Karen.
yes, her name. Well, so Miss Peenman complains like, "Hey, it's late! Hey, you ran my carpet! I'm taking this out of your security deposit! You big nothing!" And he wanted to say, "Aren't you due back at the lab to get your bolts tightened?"
Yeah, because she's like Frankenstein's monster. Got it.
Yeah. And so he comes home to his studio apartment, and it's almost like this, but a little bit better.
Honestly, it's not a bad apartment.
Yeah,
This isn't a bad house either, so I don't know
True,
what the hell he's saying.
well, this is kind of something that could have been on there because Time Warner.
Oh, like this.
Uh-huh.
Oh, because he's got a bunch of posters like you do. That's technically Bugs Bunny's only half in the shot, though. So
well, that's all right. But so here's the thing. So he's playing frisbee with Milo. He's watching some Tex Avery cartoons, and then Peenman's like, "Turn down those cartoons!" sounds like she could have been a cat lady if she had cats.
yeah.
But so then he decides to watch like a TV thing with Dr. Newman, played by Ben Stein. "We all wear masks. Everyone has a mask. Everybody calls me Pip. Bueller. Hello, Bueller." And so Stanley Ipkiss holds an mask like, "That's correct, Mundy. We all wear a mask." And he puts it on, and it's like, "Smoking!" P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta!
Yeah, so he's transformed into the character, the mask. Yeah, and those are some of the lines that he says.
And he decides to go out. He scares the alarm clocks, like jumps out, and he breaks it, and it scares both of each other scare each other. Him, the mask, and
Him and who?
Peenman.
Mrs. Peenman, right?
Peenman.
Yeah.
P, because that's after P. And so Karen Peenman starts shooting him, but he jumps
shooting at him.
Yeah. Then she jumps out the window. Then the mask jumps out the window. I almost call him Ace.
Different movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
And so the mask wreaks havoc by blowing up a car. He meets up with a biker gang who shoots them after being a balloonist.
He's chased down that dark alley, and he makes the balloon animals.
Time for me to honk your nose and pull your underwear. He gave him an atomic wedgie.
And pull your underwear over your head, right?
And then he goes to the auto repair and puts mufflers up the two guys' butts.
Does that mean he gets his car back?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But the next day, the next day, we have Lieutenant Mitch Kellaway trying to
investigate, right?
Yeah, investigating on what happened last night because he heard all this. Because they saying we were hearing a lot of noise, but Stanley Ipkiss didn't know anything about it. It's like having a hangover basically, except you're not drunk.
Okay.
Because that's what it basically was. Because Stanley Ipkiss didn't know what happened.
Right. It's because he was somebody else, basically.
Yeah.
The mask was somebody else.
And so Kellaway says, "Call me if you know anything." And then Charlie says, "Stanley, where were you? We were all looking for you." And his boss is like, "Hey, you're late." And it's like Stan's like, "Okay, that'll never happen again."
I have no idea who the actor is in that movie, but like when I got a little bit older, I thought it was Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is the guy who plays his boss. Looks a lot like Mike Nelson.
Yeah, but Yeah, I don't know what his full name is, but so Peggy Brandt, who stops into the Edge City Bank,
And Peggy, she's the one who's the journalist, right?
she's a journalist,
Right.
and she published one of Stanley Ipkiss's
Oh.
articles. Nice Guys finished last, but Stanley Ipkiss says, "I'm not getting your paper because people keep stealing it."
Yeah, she wrote an article about him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and it was like everything was going to go smoothly and whatnot, but she wants to know more about this scenario with Mask. And now it's time for a little bit of a break. Now, I hope you're enjoying our show right now, and for all you people who don't want any spoilers for this thing that we're talking,
Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie The Mask,
then
shut this off now, watch the movie,
Mhm.
and then come back and
Mhm.
enjoy
Yeah.
the rest of this review.
Yes, just buy it, rent it, stream it, but just make sure you like it, as well as like our WBBN, home of Top 16, movie sign pretty soon. The Odd, the Bland, the Spicy, and
that's a cooking show.
which is a cooking show, and even our sports show. Sports are coming back, and so hit that like and subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
And I have some bad news for all you sports fans, especially all you people from the Kansas City Chiefs, all you Chiefs fans.
And even us Cleveland fans.
Yeah. Marty Schottenheimer had passed on at the age of 77. So I know he encountered the drive, the fumble, and now a brush of death. And for all you Chiefs fans
And Browns fans.
and
maybe even Chargers fans. And even just anybody, family members,
Mhm.
anyone who held him dear, friends of his, even Bill Cowher.
Yeah. Because the only reason why I say about the Chiefs, because first off, they lost the Super Bowl on Sunday, and then you had to face this.
Yeah, one of their head coaches has passed away. Their
Mhm.
former head coaches, yes.
Former head coach.
But the thoughts and prayers go out to his family
Yes.
and his loved ones, and then maybe like guys he played with and coached with, and their fans.
So let's dedicate this episode to Marty Schottenheimer.
All right, here on the 10th day of February 2021.
Yes.
That's what today's date is, right? Okay.
Of the Warner Brothers Broadcasting Network.
All right.
So back to the film. Nico, Dorian's boss, said that the cops tried to shut the Coco Bongo down, and Nico forces Dorian to leave, as well as becoming a golf tee, because he says, I'm going to
Oh yeah, that's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, because Nico says, you have a week to leave, or I'm going to kill you. And so that night, Stanley Ipkiss has a dream with Tina, and he sees her, and Tina starts licking Stanley's ear. It was just Milo. So, interesting dream.
Yeah, that's a good fun old gag.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're making it with a pretty lady, and it's just your dog licking your face.
Yeah, and then he finds the mask, which he thought he threw away out the window, but the mask just wanted to stay. And so Stanley Ipkiss puts the mask on again, and decides to go to Coco Bongo. But first off, he's broke. So he stops at the Edge City Bank, which Dorian and his fellow people were about to rob.
Dorian and his henchmen,
Yeah,
maybe?
his
Yes.
henchmen. But Stanley Ipkiss, boing, got there before they could.
Boing? That's how he did it?
Something like that.
Okay.
He was like Tasmanian devil.
All right, yes.
But and so the cops stop him, and they shoot one of the henchmen.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, this kind of thing, the way they did it, would not fly today for some apparent reason. I'll tell you a little more in next minute or so.
Okay.
So the mask goes to the Coco Bongo, and he gets in because he has a lot of moolah.
Right.
Benjamins, Franklins, and Jacksons. Or Grants, Franklins, and Jacksons.
Yeah, that's a
Or,
line from
or
the movie.
Tuffins.
Tuffins?
Like Harry and Tuffin. It's going to be.
Oh, she's on the 500 now?
She might be on 20.
Oh, the 20. Wait,
Mhm.
really?
Yeah.
All right.
It's possible. But so he sees so the mask sees Tina perform, and he does the whole Tex Avery Big Bad Wolf thing.
Yeah, right,
And then
right.
he does the
While she's performing, right, yeah.
and
He's howling like a wolf, and
then he decides to dance with Tina. But Dorian was watching the performance, and he has to go upstairs because one of his henchmen died. And here's the reason why this would not fly today. The henchman that got shot is African American.
oh, okay. That's just one of those old movie tropes. The first guy to die is gonna be a black guy. Happens in horror movies. Happens in all movies.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson's been the first guy to die in a movie in like half the movies he's been in.
He died. Jackson's character dies in Goodfellas too.
Well, and it's a spoiler there too.
Well,
For a movie you're not even reviewing right now.
not yet. But
All right.
that one's going to be on Columbus Day, Discover's Day. I get a day off day.
Okay, that's like in November. That's
October.
Fine. So go on. You
Okay.
were talking about so the henchman dies.
And Dorian is super pissed, so he decides to close the place down and try to tells Tina to leave and tries to kill the mask, and the mask becomes a tax broker, and he becomes a bullfighter, a Russian dancer, and Elvis.
Right, so he can dodge the bullets and all that stuff.
And then becomes a cowboy who sounds like Pat Buttram. You got me, partner.
No, that's actually funny.
And he has that whole 1 minute death, and he wins an Oscar. Actually, this film did get nominated for an Oscar for
special effects.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
But Forrest Gump got the Oscar that year. Well, 1994 was one of the best, the second best year in movies.
Yeah, and it also was the beginning of a lot of the early days of special effects.
And but 1994 could never beat
groundbreaking,
1939. But 1994 was very close.
It's fine. You're going off topic.
Okay, fine.
We're already almost at 20 minutes too. So
I just love this movie.
I know you do. So keep talking about.
Okay. So
Don't rush, but just
and so Kellaway and his men to stop Dorian, and they decided to take Dorian downtown, but Kellaway found out that so was Stanley Ipkiss who did it all.
Yeah, and you know how he finds that out, right?
Yeah, he shoots one of his necktie and turns into a piece of pajamas.
Right. So that piece of pajama, he's like, oh, I only know one guy who wears pajamas this tacky.
Mm-hmm. And it's not me. Well,
You personally, or the Calloway character?
Me.
You personally, yes. That's to my knowledge, you don't wear pajamas.
No, I'd rather not say. So, but okay. Next day, let's move on. The next day, Stanley wakes up. He finds out that there's a stash of money there. And Kellaway's on his ass because the whole
Right. So the detective is pounding on his door when he wakes up, surrounded in money.
and
He's trying to hide it while the police say they're there. Right.
And he pushes Milo in the closet.
Right.
And it was like,
okay. Yes.
so he's saying, but my pajamas were stolen. And he's wearing different pajamas as well. So it's like, I don't know. So
maybe he had the wherewithal to change.
So him and his detective friend Doyle, who's eating McDonald's.
I like Doyle. Doyle's my favorite part of the movie.
Doyle! And Doyle is looking at the camera with the mask. And it's like, wow, that guy's fast. And so Ipkiss comes in late. His boss is yelling at him again. You're an hour late. And so Stanley Ipkiss snaps at him, telling him, if you say a word, I'm going to tell tell your dad what you're doing to his banking company. And Charlie was proud that he's starting to grow something.
then he started to stand up for
Yeah,
himself
stand
and
up
things
for
like
himself.
that. Say grow something. It's like, yeah, he had a huge erection.
And Tina would come in and she says, and she decides not to put money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And Stanley Ipkiss wants to see Tina. So he goes sees the Dr. Newman, played by Ben Stein. You have money? Win my money. Go as the Mask, as well as yourself. So Stanley Ipkiss is there, but because of the whole warrant thing, Kellaway and Doyle are having a stakeout on him.
At the Coca Cabana?
No, at Landfill Park.
Okay, so they're following Stanley Ipkiss.
Yes, so Doyle bought sandwiches and onion rings.
Right. Okay, yeah, it's the scene where they're in the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now Tina and Stanley get to talk, and he's like, well, my friend's going to come here soon. And then he puts on the mask, and he says, well, hello, c'est la vie. And he's like, Pepe Le Pew, oh, I love you. Oh, let's... that does not happen. Oh, let me love you. Let me kiss you. That's surprised he didn't have Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, he was just being a French guy. And
I like it. She is so good. Oh.
Shut the door, shut the window. I don't care. That's my favorite line from that part.
And so Kellaway and Doyle have decide to search him, and while that's happening, the news reporter, Peggy, her boss, played by Blake Clark, the guy who played Harry on Home Improvement, as well as Sean's father on Boy Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
So Blake Clark tells Peggy that he's got to meet up with his wife, and so Peggy says, I can handle this. So as the Mask is getting frisked and searched, and he decides to pull a prank on Kellaway and Doyle. He cuffs them together,
right,
and he locks up Edge City, and he's surrounded by cops. It's like the biggest cop scene since Blues Brothers.
Yep, there's dozens of police officers and police cars, lights flashing, and what does the Mask do then?
He's Cuban Pete.
Right.
But who does the song that was originally from an I Love Lucy show. I'm Cuban Pete. Babaloo! And all that.
Chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom.
So
yeah,
all the
whole
cops,
big musical number there.
Yeah,
and
so
the
all
police
the
are
cops
dancing,
partying,
and right.
But Doyle wants to dance, but Kellaway says no. And so now Stanley Ipkiss takes off the mask. The cops are chasing him. Peggy finally sends him to the newspaper place.
Well, because she picks him up in her car, right? And she drives him there.
And she decides to stall Stanley Ipkiss. But they have a conversation, and Stanley thought Peggy meant every word of it. But you know what they say? Money walks and Britney Spears talks.
Right.
How can we? Or for you, money talks and Bruce Springsteen walks.
Yeah, and that's those initials are BS. Yeah.
Bullshit. And so
right.
Dorian spots Peggy because it was all ploy. Peggy just needed the money, and she was hoping that Dorian would not hurt Stanley, but...
Yep, it turned out Peggy the journalist was a backstabber. Who would have figured that journalists were only out for their own self-interests, Mary Kay Kevin. And Brown's journalists, Tony Grossi. Well, anyway, go ahead.
So Dorian puts on the mask, and he's like, I love the mask! And the guy who looks like a balding Michael Bolton's like, no, what are you doing?
The bald henchman, yeah. We all remember the bald henchman.
The Michael Bolton henchman. And so Dorian decides to send Stanley Ipkiss to Kellaway and take the money as well. So now Calloway arrests Stanley Ipkiss after seeing a fake mask, and now Stanley Ipkiss is in prison waiting for a trial.
Right. Yeah. The mobsters
Yep.
planted the mask on him. Right.
Yes.
The fake rubbery green mask.
And,
right.
and Tina visits Stanley, but she says, "I'm going to run away." She's
Got to get out of town so she doesn't get murdered by Dorian and the gangsters.
Yep. And so, as Stanley was about to go to the bathroom, he sees that Tina's getting in trouble, but one of the scouts like, save it for the judge. And so he gets Milo to jump up the window. It's like, oh, get the keys, not the cheese.
Yeah, and remember there was foreshadowing earlier in the movie with that. He's shown right.
Yeah, the keys.
Yeah, we could have mentioned that.
Yeah, because he wanted to lock the door and whatnot. But Milo, I can't.
Well, unlock it.
Yeah, unlock it. Yeah, but so he gets out of the prison. He hits the guard and he meets up with Calloway. And he's like, "Okay, we're going to the Coco Bongo where there's a benefit concert that everyone's invited to in Edge City." And while it was like a casino thing, it was all benefit for charity.
Wait, Ipkiss and Calloway went there together?
Yes, because by handcuffs.
Oh, okay. He handcuffed them to him and forced them to go with him. All right.
And Calloway's like, not Dorian. What was the
Doyle?
Doyle, yeah.
Doyle.
Yeah. So Doyle's like, oh, I'll see you later in Pigland. But so Dorian tells Tina.
Ise Uye Aderley? Okay.
But Dorian tells Tina to no smoking. I got a case of dynamite. I don't want the festivities start early. And so it becomes sundown. And while the benefit charity thing was happening, Dorian's like puts on a mask like, I'm here for payback. It's like he's like Hulk. Incredible Hulk in like a villain version of Hulk.
He was here for what?
Payback.
Oh, payback was the word you said there. I couldn't tell what you said.
Hulk smash, Hulk kill, Hulk blow up, boom, boom, boom.
All right, and so Dorian fights a lot and beats up a bunch of guys?
And, he kills his boss.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's pretty important.
And then he ties up Tina on a palm tree and puts the dynamite fire. This place will blow up in 10 minutes.
Oh, the place is going to blow up in 10 minutes. All right.
And so Ipkiss comes in and starts fighting. And
as Ipkiss?
Yes.
Is he still handcuffed to the other guy?
He unlocks him and he keeps Calloway in squad car.
Oh yeah, that's right. He handcuffs him to the steering wheel or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then Milo decides to look at Calloway's face and
right. I remember that.
Milo gets out and then Dorian takes off the mask and Tina kicks it and Milo takes the mask and starts wearing it and starts harassing the Michael Bolton henchman. He even pulls an R. Kelly.
Yeah, he pees all over the bar after biting the bald henchman in the.
No, he pees on the.
Oh, he pees on the henchman too.
Yeah, the Michael Bolton henchman.
Yeah, I know. I know what you call him. I know what I call him. Yeah. He's the same guy.
Okay, and so Stanley Ipkiss sees Milo. Oh my god! And then he puts on the mask after he gets shot many times, and he does the. Well,
he puts the mask on first and then gets shot.
Yeah.
If he got shot at Stanley Ipkiss, he would just be murdered.
And he does the classic, I'm going to drink something, and then like the liquid.
Right, he says, "Oh, you missed me." He drinks the water, and then the water comes out of the bullet holes. Yeah.
Oh, I guess you didn't miss me. And then he says, "Well, do you feel lucky, punk? A little bit Clint Eastwood, do ya?"
Yeah.
And it was all fake, but he goes and saves the day by eating the dynamite. Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball. And then he sees Dorian and Stanley Ipkiss flushes Dorian down the drain.
Wait, as the mask or as Stanley?
Mask.
So the mask
the mask
flushes
Yeah, so Charlie says, "Okay, you're all under arrest." I always wanted to say that. And
Yeah, that was Doyle,
so,
right?
Yeah, no, Charlie,
Who's Charlie?
his friend, Stanley Ipkiss's friend.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that guy.
So basically the mayor, who looks like Reginald L. Johnson, even though it isn't,
Right.
Carl Winslow.
Uh-huh.
Go home, Steve. But he chews out Kellaway. He's gonna have the mayor's gonna have Kellaway's badge for breakfast, basically.
Yeah.
And Doyle's like, "Oh, can we have breakfast?" "Shut up!" And he says, "But Stanley Ipkiss was a mask." He says, "No, Stanley Ipkiss was the hero. Dorian was the mask. But since he's dead, who cares?"
Right.
And so Stanley Ipkiss throws the mask over the river and saying, "Tina, are you gonna miss him?" And Tina's like, "No." And so Charlie decides to get the mask, but Viola gets the mask again, but Stanley Ipkiss kisses Tina's like, "Smoking!" And that's The Mask. There was going to be a sequel to The Mask called The Mask 2.
No, that's what it would be called.
But guess what we got?
You got Son of the Mask. That's a story for another time.
Yes.
Oh, that movie's terrible. Jamie
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Mm-hmm. And this is my second favorite Jim Carrey film. And like I said, I recommend this film. It's got great effects. It's Jim Carrey at his greatest, and Jim Carrey is never going to have another year like 1994.
His debut year, really, right?
Well, he did have movies previously, but
Yeah, that's true. His breakout year then.
yeah,
'Cause he had 3 different movies in '94, didn't he?
Yes, and that is kind of a feat for, especially around the Bronze Age of cinema, which was the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
That was when New Hollywood ended and another New Hollywood started. But I think we went over our minutes, but I don't know.
Well, not really. We don't have a set time ever. I try to shoot for somewhere between 20 and 25, and you're at 32 right now.
Okay. But,
So do you just final last words about The Mask, and then tease next week or whatever?
Yeah, well, that was The Mask, and again, it is a great film for one of the greatest films in '94. It's a great year for almost any film in '94. I got a lot of them, but unfortunately, how long was that? I don't know. Let's get out of here. And now for our teaser for next Tuesday.
Oh, Seattle Mariners. When will they ever go to the World Series? Could someone tell me when the Mariners are going to the World Series? I can't sleep unless I know about the Mariners. Someone tell me, please. And I'm in. I know I shouldn't have had too much coffee at that certain Seattle coffee shop. You guys drink too much coffee and listen to too much Kurt Cobain. The city's so green.
Yeah, and he can't fall asleep, and he's in Seattle.
Yep.
So he's apparently sleepless there, even.
Sleepless in Seattle.
All right, yeah.
Starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Were you waiting for me to guess?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It also has Rosie O'Donnell,
Well,
Meathead, Rob Reiner,
yeah.
and David I. Pierce.
Oh, all right. I like him.
I'm Paul Mr. And stay tuned for this Thursday for 16 worst TV shows ever. I'm Paul Mr. Cleveland Warren, having less fun than anything you can ever have. Have a good afternoon.